Article 43(1) of the Constitution states that every person has the right to the highest attainable standard of health, which includes the right to healthcare services, inclusive of reproductive healthcare. However, recent research and strategies to combat HIV and AIDS show that social and economic elements have contributed to the increased levels of infection in women and girls as opposed to men in Kenya. Women and girls are more vulnerable to infections. This begs the question: are civil society organizations, CSO programs, addressing HIV and AIDS in a gender-sensitive manner?
When you say, I am programming in HIV and AIDS as a civil society, do you know the categories that are most vulnerable? Are you doing a gender disaggregated approach? Are you just programming for Kenyans? Or are you programming for Kenyans, but in your mind you know the vulnerabilities of the men, you know the vulnerabilities of the women, you know the vulnerabilities of the boys, you know the vulnerabilities of the girls?
What we found out from the baseline survey is that though we purport to say we have gender and HIV program, when we subject those programs or those proposals, whatever programs the civil society are implementing in the name of gender, we did develop a matrix or a criteria for evaluating a gender-responsive program. And when we did evaluate some of the proposals, some of the programs that the civil societies are implementing, it was found that they did not meet the benchmark of what we would call a gender-responsive program.
Although many CSOs have really worked on providing treatment, care, and support to the society through HIV and AIDS programs, many have fallen short of implementing a gender-based approach to programming that will promote more balanced outcomes and support sustainable results.
Gender should not be an afterthought of a program.
I would want to look at the concept of gender as, a wholesome component, rather than looking at gender as women, as most of us would like to believe, because really, at the end of the day, gender really encompasses both sexes. And when we are talking about HIV and HIV programming, you find, in as much as many of us, many of the CSOs will be working towards empowerment of women, supporting of women, where does that leave the men? Yet at the end of the day, HIV transmission really will happen between the two sexes.
These loopholes are reflected at the community level.
HIV impacts on men and women differently, on boys and girls differently. I want to say that the impact of HIV and AIDS on girls and women is because of their vulnerability. Firstly, biologically, they are quite vulnerable. And then, of course, when we look within our communities, the cultural setup that is mostly sometimes used to perpetuate this discrimination. You look at the issues of women, and we are talking about harmful cultural practices, for example, wife inheritance or widow inheritance, whereby a woman has no say on what happens in her sexual life. On the other hand, of course, the vulnerabilities of men also come in, where men are supposed to be macho, they're supposed to know it all, and they are supposed to, it's okay for men to have multiple partners. So in the process, we find that this contributes to the high spread of HIV and AIDS.
When it comes to the socialization process of our children, we need to be able to build capacities of our communities so that the boy child and the girl child are both given equal opportunities, such that later in life, each one of them has resources and opportunities that are able to adequately address their health care.
A case in point is the story of this lady infected with HIV. We identify her only as Caroline. Her life has been full of trials and tribulations, with the worst form of discrimination coming from her own husband.
Mzee wangu alikuwa ananisumbua. Nikijaribu kumwambia tuende hospitali, hataki. Nikasema atajuaje. Lakini nimekumbana na mambo mengi kama ya chakula. Akifika, anafika usiku saa 5, anapika hizo chakula zake, mimi nimelala kwa kitanda, anakula peke yake. Nikiamka asubuhi, nikiamka hiyo usiku saa 8 njaa inaniuma, ananiambia shauri yako. Siwezi itisha hata kitu anipatie kama amebeba kwa mkono akitoka kazini. Kaka ananifukuza, ananivuruta nitoke ndani ya nyumba, nirudi kwa wazazi wangu.
She has tried to seek legal redress, but none has come her way.
Issues of law, we refer to institutions like FIDA, we refer to chief, but we don't go beyond that because sometimes it's out of our hands.
Kisheria, dada yangu alikuwa anasema tuende kwa chief ili vile ananitesa na mimi ni mgonjwa, tuandikishane huko. Na sasa ilikuwa inataka gharama ya pesa kidogo kidogo na bado hatuna jinsi ya kusaidiwa.
19-year-old Val was diagnosed with HIV 7 years ago, and like many others, she affirms that the infected are stigmatized by both family and long-term friends.
And I remember there's a day where I asked a certain friend of mine, what if I could be HIV positive? What will you do? And the person just told me, you cannot be my friend. And from there is when I discovered, oh, there are some people who, when you have this and this, they cannot help you. So from there, I had to keep off from such friends.
And the Backup Initiative has a cooperation with the organization HERAF, as you know, in order to improve the skills of civil society organizations here in Kenya in terms of proposal writing, for example, specific proposals which have the task to improve the skills of gender-oriented, writing gender-oriented proposals and implementing gender-oriented projects. And the Backup Initiative has developed specific tools, and they have developed a proposal assessment tool for this purpose, which I have used here. And this tool, maybe to give you a brief explanation, contains aspects like gender analysis, so as a first aspect, and the quality of the gender analysis, and it also contains a small description on the beneficiaries and proposed interventions, a description of these interventions, and also an implementation plan, and in how far this implementation plan is well developed, and what kind of gender-sensitive indicators are used.
Several CSOs have gender-based HIV and AIDS programs.
In terms of programming, we have a gap where many of us only concentrate on women and children, but yet not realizing HIV is not just transmitted by women. There is need to pay more attention towards activities that will be supporting the couple, the spouses. And also probably particular attention needs to be paid towards reaching out to men and also providing supportive activities for them.
A category that sometimes that we have not programmed for very well is the sexual minorities. When I talk of the sexual minorities, I mean the sex workers, men having sex with men. And then the other day I just learned that even the lesbians also have their risks when it comes to HIV and AIDS. And you look at the HIV strategic plan, mostly we are talking about men having sex with men, where we are saying, yes, as much as the relationship is illegal in Kenya, but when people engage in same-sex relationship, they do also have vulnerabilities. When they are infected, do we treat them? Do we not treat them? And the HIV policy, or the strategic plan developed in 2009, 2010 is very clear on that. That even for the people, men who engage in sex with fellow men, when they need the treatment must be given. The injecting drug users, they must also be catered for. So that we are making policies based on what the actual needs of the people are, and not what our needs as the learned people at the top is.
Different members of the society have diverse needs. They are exposed and are faced with different risks. For instance, same-sex partners.
The law, so you'll find that with the penal code, which criminalizes consensual same-sex adult relations. In a way, it does hinder, shall I say, HIV/AIDS access, because members, most MSMs, and also, shall I say, WSW, that is women who have sex with women, when they go to, shall I say, to access HIV/AIDS treatment and care, you know, when they are asked, whom do you have sex with, you know, the box is ticked and, shall I say, homosexual. So this doctor can actually now start asking you, why are you homosexual, why are you gay, why are you lesbian? So not leading to the main cause, or shall I say the main reason why you are there, is to receive HIV testing and counseling.
In addition, there is need to identify the specific challenges affecting these groups and prescribe an amicable solution.
HIV and economic power, quite interrelated, because when you have economic power, you are able to afford better health care. Issues of women empowerment and dependency on men is a factor that has really disadvantaged women in that they are not able to negotiate for safe sex in terms of condom use. The boy child also risks their life by getting involved in the sugar mommy's issue. Why? Because they don't have economic power to be able to take care of their lives.
And that's not all. Faith-based organizations are also deemed to have a duty to play in addressing the vulnerability of genders to HIV.
We know that the church teaches about submission of the woman, which is okay, and we people in the CSOs need to respect that. But we also need to tell the woman it's a level of submission which you can go and risks your life. For example, if you're having this woman with this husband who you know very well is infected with HIV/AIDS, he does not want to use the condom, the church then should intervene there, because the woman is risking her life further by having a relationship, a sexual relationship with this husband.
Paying attention to nutrition is key to the effectiveness of any HIV intervention.
Lakini nimekumbana na mambo mengi kama ya chakula. Akifika, anapika usiku saa 5, anapika hizo chakula zake, mimi nimelala kwa kitanda, anakula peke yake. Nikiamka asubuhi, nikiamka hiyo usiku saa 8 njaa inaniuma, ananiambia shauri yako. Siwezi itisha hata kitu anipatie kama amebeba kwa mkono akitoka kazini.
Other experiences are things to do with maybe poor nutrition, sometimes because they don't have money to feed well, or sometimes because they just don't know what they're supposed to be feeding on for them to have, you know, better strength for their body, and also for them to actually better absorb their ARVs.
Sikuwa nimejua mtu akiwa mgonjwa akikula lazima apate kitu kama machungwa. Hiyo sikuwa nimejua, nilikuwa tu najua unakula tu, lakini sijui ni nini inasaidia. Sasa hapo pia hiyo ni changamoto nilipata huko Sikenye, niliona nikaambia nimempikia ugali na cabbage. Wakaniambia hiyo sio chakula umempikia. Wakaniambia hapana, inafaa kule maharagwe, inafaa kule mboga za kienyeji, na inafaa baada ya kukula hiyo chakula uwe na kapisi kama chungwa, lazima akule.
In a network meeting organized by HERAF with support from GIZ Backup Initiative, it emerged that there is need to revise the current policies used by CSOs to make them more gender sensitive.
But most of them are gender equal, gender right, and even resource allocation.
The civil society organizations that are implementing gender and HIV program, there is a gap when it comes to transforming. Some of us do not understand what is gender. The relationship between gender and HIV is also a gap among the civil society. But the greatest gap is now how we develop or design the programs. At the design level, we lack the capacity, because what happens is that we jump into the issues of gender because maybe the development partners are focusing on the gender. The challenge we have is how do we move from what we have been the stereotype gender program to gender and HIV program that transform, because transforming we mean change.
An area of major concern is stigma and discrimination at the community level. With this, many CSOs have conducted sensitization campaigns.
walinielezea, walikuwa wananipatia nguvu, wananiambia sio wewe peke yako ambaye uko HIV positive. Na pale nachukua dawa, tukaanza kuelimishwa, kufundishwa vile mtu anapata hiyo ugonjwa na vile anaweza kuishi na hiyo ugonjwa. Na mimi ndio nilikuwa mtu wa kwanza kupeleka hiyo training ya treatment literacy. Nikajua naweza kupata virusi namna gani, na ninaweza kukaa namna gani na hizo virusi, watoto wangu naweza kuwaelezea namna gani, na nitawaelezea wakati gani. Pia kusaidia wazee, kwa vile wazee wengi walikuwa ni waoga sana kwenda kujua hali yao. Sasa ninawaambia wamama wamechanuka pale nje, wamejua hali yao, wanakaa vizuri, na nyinyi tu ni kukufa mnakufa. Nimewaelimisha na wengi wamefanya nini, wamejua hali yao. Hata tuko na post test club ambaye ni kikundi ya watu ambao wako HIV positive, hasa tena ni wazee.
These organizations have taken a further step in care, treatment and support at the community level by introducing door-to-door visits and home-based care.
Where we visit with our clients at home when they are hospitalized, so as to give them encouragement and also to let the community or the family members know how to take care of the sick. And also, in case of anything, they know where to get the services.
CSOs need to work closely with other organizations to increase their knowledge and information about the activities, problems and challenges they face.
If there is a service that we don't provide and a particular CBO or NGO is able to give that service, then we do what we call referrals for that service to be given to that client.
Capacity building is not a one day or one event activity. It's a continuous process. We have organized a network meetings among the organizations that have been trained, so that even after the training they are able to come together, review what they were trained, learn from one another, share their experiences. So we have also been lucky that we have gotten a consultant who is reviewing the proposals of the program.